there's a ton of people tonight in the chat room, but for my first annual and maybe last time, most creative screen name in the chat room would be Claire Lynch wins an Emmy. Claire Lynch wins the Emmy. Awesome screen name. Tonight on Raw, we opened up the show with Brock Lesnar coming out with Paul Heyman. And, man, Paul Heyman still, his promo ability is incredible. He called Brock Lesnar the new King of Kings, and basically put over the fact that Brock Lesnar, really is the new guy in, WWE. Now, they keep approaching an angle that when Triple H tapped out, the whole WWE kind of tapped out, and that really didn't make much sense to me. But, essentially, Lesnar defeated Triple H and is the new man around there. And then, it really set the table for whatever happens next with Brock. Naturally, you kind of think it's going to be Undertaker, but I mean, it's not going to be a guarantee that it is Undertaker, but whoever it is, it kind of makes it seem like they're going to have a challenge. But this is all night one. I mean, just judging this as night one, I like what they did tonight. Then they brought out referee Scott Armstrong, who, it's interesting from a hardcore wrestling fan perspective. I didn't expect what was going to happen because Scott comes from a legendary professional wrestling family and was a very accomplished professional wrestler himself. And, part of me kind of thought that Brock was going to bump Scott Armstrong here tonight, but, he didn't. He patted him on the shoulder and the head and said, good job for, calling the match the way he did last night. And, Brock later did a tout. I'm not the biggest fan of Lesnar doing touts, but,
why not?
If I were to grade this segment and, I guess the corollary segment, which was Shawn Michaels' speech later, basically, just I'll go over that real quick, is basically he said that he wishes he would have told Triple H that he couldn't beat Brock Lesnar, that he wanted to tell his friend that he could, but he knew deep inside he couldn't, and basically went over the fact that Triple H was kind of retired without knowing it. Triple H didn't go into the match Sunday knowing it was going to be his last, but Shawn assumed that'd be Triple H's last match, which kind of makes you think it isn't. They set they planted a lot of seeds tonight, Kev, and I was a fan of those two angles, and I've talked for a long time. So, what are your thoughts?
Overall, I kind of like where this is going. The match last night delivered everything that I thought it would, other than Triple H just completely losing his panties. Just absolutely embarrassing how he ended that match. He just looked so down and so defeated. And I don't buy this bullshit either, that Triple H was not just fighting for himself, but the entire WWE. No, he was not. This whole thing was all about him. It had nothing to do with WWE. This was his grudge match. It was not WWE's grudge match. This is Triple H started this because he got pissed off because Brock Lesnar wanted to be treated better. I don't believe that Brock Lesnar needed to be treated better. He didn't deserve it, hadn't earned it, certainly. But, Triple H's overreaction was all about him. It wasn't about the WWE. It wasn't about the company's reputation or anything like that. It was all Triple H's ego once again. So I'm quite happy that Brock Lesnar completely stomped a mud hole in that and put a Kimura lock on it. And WWE.com is also reporting today that once again, Lesnar has broken Triple H's arm twice in a year.
Well, maybe this time Triple H will get a proper cast, or unlike last time when he had the robotically engineered cast that still allowed him to move his arm. Yeah, to rehash it, I didn't understand the whole Triple H representing the WWE.
Yeah, that was just literally thrown in there, I think. It was just dumb, and I don't think a lot of fans agreed with it.
What were your thoughts on Shawn's segment? Because I did go over that. This is kind of part of the story, too.
It was interesting. I'm not sure how to react to that. It came off as heartfelt. Triple H HBK feels really sorry for Triple H. I'm not seeing yet where that plays into the storyline picture. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a blow off to get Triple H out of the way, or HBK out of the way here. You know, really, we should stop calling him HBK, because he's not the Heartbreak Kid. He's like 46 years old. He stopped
Absolutely.
being a kid like 20 years ago.
I've still called him the Heartbreak Kid. Yeah,
You would.
It's very interesting because tonight, like I said, these two segments were, together, part of the same story. But tonight, I think you kind of saw the deviation point where these two stories now are going on to their own ways. Triple H, I don't believe Triple H had his last match last night. So it'll be interesting to see where the Triple H story goes from here. And then, who's going to be the man to step up and challenge Lesnar next? It's going to be the next story they're going to tell. And, now, Kev, for you, did this kind of wipe away the fact that Lesnar lost in his return match to John Cena?
Yeah, pretty much. Because that was a fairly good match. I really don't think that did any damage to Lesnar's reputation or character at all. He rebounded right from that. He accepted that, he took a loss. He took it like a man and he moved on.
I'm not a fan of it, and I still can't say they should have done it. But I mean, considering how strongly Shawn Michaels and Triple H have put over Brock the past 2 weeks, it's almost like you kind of have to remember they did lose to John Cena in May of this year, or May or April of this year. So that does it this week with the Brock bit.